Welcome back to Is There Any Money In on the Equity Mates feed? No, I'm not one of your regular hosts. My name is Ed Cavalier. But joining us, I've changed my pronouns to bro and warlock. Gentlemen, nice to see you both again.
Great to be back, Ed. Excited for this one?
Oh, this is a bit of fun. So today I'm going to be, with your help, doing Is There Any Money in Movies?
Okay.
There's a lot to get through. But off the top of our heads, if we had to start, 1 being, there's no money in it, and 10 being there's a stack of cash in it, where do you boys both land on Is There Any Money in Movies?
I mean, my feeling is going to be probably similar to a lot of these where at the top end, yes. But I'm going to go there's 7.
As a 7 out of 10?
Yeah,
Okay.
I reckon there's big money in it.
All right.
If you get it right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to just copy my friend Bryce over here, but I'm also a 7. Because I think like at the top end, you think of, we're in blockbuster summer, and we've got like Indiana Jones, Oppenheimer, Barbie.
As of recording, Indiana Jones has underperformed massively.
Okay.
So we're already in territory.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of superhero movies do nowhere near what they thought it would, and one doing well. The results are out as yet on Barbie, but that looks as though it might overperform. And Oppenheimer, shot in IMAX at the behest of the director, Christopher Nolan, which means the costs are skyrocketing. And Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, the Tom Cruise vehicle, quite literally. Did you guys know that he jumps off
Off a cliff
on a motorbike?
Yeah.
It's a pretty.
They've had a year. That's all they got.
It's pretty epic.
But that is teetering on the maybe not area. So
Okay, but regardless of how well those blockbusters are going, there's a bunch out. But for my gut feeling, and I'm interested in this, is that your stock standard average movie actually does okay. Like, people make money on that.
great way to describe stock standard, because that's going to help us today. Because movies fall into a series of different categories that are not genre. There is your studio-backed blockbuster that needs to hit $500, $600, $700 million to get anywhere near breaking even. That's your Mission Impossibles.
Yeah.
That's your Marvel films.
Yeah.
That's the Indiana Jones. That's the Oppenheimers of this world. Then you've got the next sort of level down, which is the one they say is all gone, the mid-budget films. So those are the ones that happened a lot more in the 90s and the 2000s. The things that are original movies that are not part of a sequel and they're not part of IP, and they need an angle in order to try and cut through the various noises that take place. And there's much less of these. There's many less of these movies than there used to be.
Can you give us a couple of examples so we can...
So back in the day, something like your Clear and Present Danger in the 90s with your Harrison Ford. Look, it's got Harrison Ford in it.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
wow. But it's based off a book. It's sort of roughly a Jack Ryan thing, which is now an Amazon series, but it's not okay. But that can do really well. I'm going to get down into the most profitable and the least profitable films of all time, based on their genre and their budget and their return. Right. So we can get through some of that. But if we were going to start at the top, what do you think? I'm going to go from genre, and then we're going to answer the Marvel question. God help me. All right, let's start with. Let's go around the room.
And we've seen your Men's Health cover shoot. You could be in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be Calf Man. So let's go with, what do you think the highest grossing genre of all time is?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi, my friends, is not number 1. That is not even in the top 15.
Yeah,
Wow.
Rogue from you, bro. Oh,
Yeah,
are you counting Marvel as sci-fi?
Yeah, I count Marvel as sci-fi.
I thought you might.
Yeah.
But if you're counting, you're going to say Marvel is part of it, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well then let's leave that there, because that is part of what I want to get to. All
Okay.
right.
Okay, well, I think if Bryce isn't right, I would say...
Probably
let's not
another
overthink this. The big genres, romance, probably.
rom-coms.
Comedy.
Rom-com
no.
is 7th.
Yeah.
Action.
I'm going to say, like your big blockbuster action films, like your Tom Cruise.
You got
and
it.
stuff.
So they've gone adventure and action separately, but they are the same thing, and they used to be different. Now they're the same. Marvel's in that category. They're at 1 and 2.
Fantasy.
Fantasy gets its own. Your Harry Potters, etc. That I think they also throw into that mix as well. This is from The Numbers, which is a very good website, but it's interesting that they haven't bothered to take those genres out.
Yeah.
They just call them all adventure.
Yeah.
Action. So they're 1 and 2, and this is for the past 20. This is from the past 20 years at $66 and $56 billion respectively. Then you've got drama, which is used to be that midpoint, just people talking. Richard Gere's in a lot of them. That's almost half at 36. Comedy, which is we're going to cover a lot today, they keep saying it's dead. It sort of is. 34 billion over the journey, and then we go down to thriller 20 million and horror 14 billion. That is the one that will change.
You reckon it'll go up or down?
That will take that. I think that will get to third place.
Horror.
Yep. Horror takes, especially we'll get to it, but profitability wise, horror is.
Yeah.
And now it just flat out beats big blockbusters. So the Insidious, I think the 5th movie at the time of recording, beat Indiana Jones. That's just a flat.
Well,
that's just a flat foot race.
I have never heard of that title before.
Well, it's
And
an
you're saying
Australian
there's
who made it, Lee Winnell, who made Saw.
Yeah.
That's what he went on to after your Saw
Insidious.
franchise, Insidious. You'll know it when you see it, and incredible results.
And as long as Stephen King's alive, they'll never be short of scripts.
So true, isn't it? Stephen King wrote a post-it note. Quick, someone make 6 episodes out of it. Alrighty, that's us. Now, when do we want to? Should we just address the Marvel thing off the top? Because the inception of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was. I thought of you two so much when I heard this. I was like,
superheroes. I get it.
villains who live in bunkers. So I thought, right, this is perfect for them. So the whole thing, the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, as they call it, where the movies are interconnected, etc., is the most successful film, whatever you want to call it, group of all time. So it's sort of taken over Star Wars. Star Wars, they argue that the merch, which we'll get to later on, but basically is the most successful of all time. From the first movie to now, anyway, we all know how successful they are and have been. And they all put it down mainly to this bloke called Kevin Feige. He is the guy that you often hear is the brains behind the whole thing. However, recently, my friends, a man by the name of David Maisel has emerged from the shadows and started doing interviews. As he says, he's got various reasons that he gives, but once you really start listening to him, and when you're a vain media loser like I am, I finally get to it and I'm like, there it is. He was not worried. He was worried he wasn't getting enough credit, which is probably fair enough, right? They always say it's this other guy. He was the original principal of Marvel Studios that got the whole thing going.
Right.
What if I told you that the highest grossing cinema franchises of all time were not based on, this will be a wonderful set of ideas. Won't this be exciting for fans? What if I told you that it was a venture capital play based on relative profitability of sequels as opposed to originals?
Really?
What if I told you that it was with characters that are able to be commercially exploited globally?
Yeah, we love Disney's business model for
I
this reason.
thought you'd love this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is...
Not to jump ahead, but yeah.
So you'll have a grab there. Here is David Maisel on the Tim Ferriss Show talking about his ascent to being the first president of Marvel Studios and how he, alone, in his room, one weekend, came up with the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe before they'd made a single film. Take it away.
And so I was very focused on Marvel right away. So luckily I didn't have to look at my second choice. I knew I was personally interested in it. And then I had this hypothesis or model at the time, which was I knew how bad the first movie business was. And you spend, in this case, $100 million on something, you hope people show up. Yeah, research can help you a little bit, but very little. It's pretty random. Stars at the time could maybe open the movie. But it's a not horrible, but a pretty bad business. But the sequel business was amazing because statistically you could predict the revenues plus or minus something, and you could manage your profit margin, not whether you made profits. And so the big idea I had, which was now is called the universe, was what if after the first movie, every movie after that was a sequel or a quasi-sequel, which required all the characters or a lot of the characters to show up in multiple movies. And that led me again to Marvel because I knew about the vast universe of characters and that this would be a perfect way, in my mind, to make every movie after the first one a sequel, or quasi-sequel. It came up like over 24, 48 hours that weekend, the whole thing.
So
Wow.
there's creativity, ladies and gentlemen. What if so his basic premise is, and he's the executive producer of Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, on until forever, right? Until the sale to Disney, which we'll get to, of Marvel Studios, which he negotiated.
Oh, so some of those movies were pre-Disney, like Iron Man. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Didn't realize that.
So, what if creativity was getting in the way? What if what we needed for movies was the guarantee that the next one didn't have to have any ideas in it? It just related to the one that you'd already seen. That is essentially where we've got to. His whole idea, if you listen closely, his whole idea of movies is that the problem with movies is the movies. The problem is that you have to start with an idea and a script and try and get yourself to the point where people might want to go and see it. What if we remove that? What if they're so ingrained to know that there's this one, then you got to watch this one, but then the sequel's this one, then we can house the costs and essentially turn it into episodic television, CSI. Then that way, there's no way we can lose money. And he was right.
Yeah, I think there's an element of survivorship bias here, where it's like you have an idea, you're successful, and then you assume that the idea was correct. But like,
It could have turned to shit.
but like we see with Marvel now, when like box office receipts are falling,
that's
that
right.
like the never-ending sequel perhaps isn't
does
the thing
end.
that drove
But
it.
everything has, in Hollywood, everything has an ending in terms of genres and in terms of overall genres. Westerns eventually bottomed out. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for as long as you can run it, you can run it. And this has been the most successful version of that. Now, getting back to Disney, there were some machinations, boardroom machinations. They paid $4 billion for Marvel. $4 billion. Made it back in 2 movies. So it was a pretty good investment. 2.5 movies.
Wow.
Have you read Bob Iger's book?
I most certainly have.
Yeah, that's, if people are interested in it, it's a good one. Yeah.
But he offered them, this guy, he offered Disney, the company, Marvel, the whole thing for $200 million. They could have had it for $200 million after X-Men, but before Iron Man and the rest of it started.
Wow.
Same set of characters, and all of that money could have gone to Disney initially,
Wow.
rather than having to go back. Right, so there's money in Marvel.
Big money.
Do you guys watch those movies?
No, I don't.
But one of our best mates is obsessed.
Yeah.
To the point of treating it like TV. He actually sat his girlfriend down, and together they went back, not only watching it in release order, but in chronological order as the movies fall in the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what this dude wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And but he prefers if you keep paying while you did it. But that's exactly the point of what he's going to do, what he did. And it worked. And you're right, there is survivor bias but you look at their main rival DC Comics with Batman, Superman, etc., and they always use that as the example of, well, they couldn't do it. They had to keep rebooting things. And that is a fair comparison to say, okay, yep, that's true. They had this coherent system. You guys have had 16 Batmans. There were 4 in the last movie.
It's crazy.
They had a movie and they're like, we don't know what to do with it. Put some other Batmans in it. How many Batmans have you got? Well, how many suits have you got? Just keep putting humans in it until someone goes and sees the movie.
Isn't that now with Spider-Man? There's a whole Spider-Verse.
It's the best.
Yeah.
How many Spider-Mans you got? How many do you want?
Yeah.
I love the idea of Into the Spider-Verse 2. Well, isn't a verse pretty much unlimitless? Why do I have to have a sequel to a universe? Welcome to the universe part 2.
We'll take your universe of characters and we'll give you a universe of the same character.
Oh, if you like that, you might... So that means that there's money in that. But I know what you really want to do. You want to talk about flops, right? So let's start talking about some of the most profitable and some of the least profitable films of all time. Because back in the day, when you used to have to come up with what he hated, David, a first-run movie.
An idea.
What a terrible idea. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. One person owns 2 of the 5 top grossing movies of all time. Can you guess who that person is?
Cameron.
There you go. Not Dado, James
Cameron.
Yes.
Yeah.
With your Avatars and your Titanic.
Would he not have 3 now? Because even he's lent into the idea that sequels are predictable and profitable.
And I was just about to get to that.
Sorry.
And James Cameron, who rails against Marvel like you can't believe. These aren't cinema. They aren't this. This is crap. And the good news is I've got Avatar 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And he always says the same thing. I'm just waiting for the technology to catch up. It's like, mate, you made the technology.
Yeah.
You can make it catch up. So, anyhow, you're right. Your Avatars and your Titanics. But let's take you back in time. There's a great book called The 90s, but it's not close to me. Where they
Sorry, there's a really morbid joke that he's now got Titanic 2 to make.
That is.
So he was in a tough spot for that because, in 1988 they find the Titanic. They're looking for 2 Russian subs, secretly the US government, and they're in that part of the North Atlantic or the Baltic, whatever it's called. And the dude who did it and found them, because that was he goes, okay, can I get you this before we go? Can I go back down and look for Titanic? And they're like, what? He's like, I found your subs. Can I go down and look for Titanic? They go, all right. And the footage is on YouTube. And down they are, black water, black water. Whoa. There she blows.
Wow.
Dude finds it, takes it back. Cameron sees it and goes, oh, no, hang on a second. This is me. And he does the whole private sub thing, which, of course, tragically recently didn't work out. And then he goes down, and he went down, I think, 10 times before he started writing the script. Wow. I don't know what he missed. Still sank? Still sank. Still sank. Now,
Still there.
Now I need to pump up my homeboy, Carlo, who's got a great podcast called Did Titanic Sink? Right? It's a really
is this
good.
the conspiracy theory?
I bet. Do you know what it is?
The JP Morgan one.
Which one? Yeah, the insurance. JP
Yeah,
Morgan.
yeah.
Yes, that guy doing an insurance job, but not to sink Titanic, to sink the sister ship Olympia, which looks identical to Titanic.
Where's the Titanic then?
You know what? That's a good point. I think they rebadged it the Fair Star, and it's still out there. So I think it might be the Ruby Princess. It's got some COVID issues, but it's a beautiful podcast. And don't look at me like that. Yes, I am prone to believing some of these things.
The only reason I've heard this
Here we
theory
go. Here we
is
go.
we have one mate who we went to uni with, Mang, who believes every conspiracy theory.
Okay.
And this is one that he introduced me to.
And is he? They reckon? Yeah, it's on or not?
Yeah. He was adamant. I don't know if he still does, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Carlo will be listening, and I'm with you, man. I reckon it's the Olympia.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think it's the Olympia, and I think they meant to sink it much slower so that people got off. Why are we in this? Don't do this. Why have you dragged me down? We are on YouTube, which is what they love on this platform.
Hold on. If they meant to sink it slower and people could get off,
Because it happened the year before.
wouldn't those people have been able to say, we weren't on the Titanic, we're on it said Olympia on the
No,
side
so
of the boat.
rebadged it after the Olympia got damaged.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And why would... Dude, stop it. Stop it,
Is there
you
money
two.
in conspiracy theories?
Yes, there
Yes,
is.
there's so much money.
YouTube. The irony of that is that this... So who owns YouTube?
Google.
Right. So the place that's meant to be the keeper of all knowledge in the world makes the most money from maniacs like me on YouTube just saying any bullshit and conspiracy theories. So talk about making money on both sides of the ledger. Here we are running facts on Google, but by the way, we've also got nutbags on YouTube saying whatever we want. Just keep the stock price going. I am a shareholder, I should disclose. In 1996, how much did it cost to make the film Titanic?
Cool, I reckon.
Cool.
You reckon?
Yeah.
They built the damn thing.
They built it.
Yeah, they built a half of it. Then it was wrong. They had to turn around and build the other half.
Actually?
Yes.
In
96.
I'm going to say...
$2 million bucks.
Accounting for
Hang on, wait.
inflation. No, like...
Come on, man.
100 mil.
Yeah. Do you not know how much movies cost?
Do you know how much...
I'm about to find out.
There are episodes of... Let's name a TV show. There are episodes of The Biggest Loser that would have cost $2 million.
No, put it this way. The Friends cast, didn't they get like $1 million an episode
Yeah,
each?
yeah, they
in, like,
renegotiated.
yeah.
The first cast to all get $1 million each.
So a Friends
this is the
episode was at
Titanic.
least $6 million just per episode, just on
The
staffing
James Cameron
costs.
There's
movie
no-
that's 3 hours long from 1997.
You could have done the whole thing in one room in a studio.
Oh my God. This guy is not a serious.
You know what? You are destined to be a studio head. That is the perfect attitude. You could run Marvel.
He is a media executive. So
Yeah, you're right. That is, you know what? It's perfect. All right.
Fine,
That's
200 million.
Thank you. You're right.
Nice. Just testing you guys. Just testing.
Christ. So at the time, thank you, Chuck Klosterman's great book, The 90s. It was thought to be, it was going to be a disaster. This movie, because the other thing it did is the running time is over 3 hours, which means you could only show it once a night. Which means you couldn't get two screenings a night. James Cameron himself said in privately, and then it got leaked into interviews, he thought the film would lose $100 million. This guy was all in. He was making them eat real caviar on the takes that they were eating caviar on the boat.
That's cool.
That is, what do you mean cool?
Cool start.
All right. Now you're on board.
That's why it cost 200 million.
Well, yes, it's stuff like that. However, it took $3 billion at the box office, right? Overtime plus other things, he's made his cash. Add yourself another 2.5 for your Avatar. James Cameron is well ahead of the curve. It's up there as now maybe one of the most profitable movies of all time, which at the time seemed staggering. They put a lot of it down to just the fact that people liked Leonardo DiCaprio because you couldn't go and watch it pirated online. It was the last blockbuster in that time where you literally just had to keep showing up. And I worked in a video store for all of the 90s and part of the 2000s. I don't know if it's still there. I'd have to check.
It's not.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's an Amazon filling station now. Thank you, Civic Video on New South Head Road and Old South Head Road. My home is there. And I remember when Titanic came, we could not have, there was no amount of copies of Titanic you could put on the shelves that was enough to satisfy demand.
Really?
It was incredible. It was I still to this day cannot remember anything. And at that time, people would steal the videos because they wanted them. Guess how much we would charge their credit cards for a video cassette at that time?
2 million.
Try and help me. $110. $110 for a VHS because that's what they charged us. $110 for a VHS to rent.
Wait, who charged you that?
The company. So Universal, whoever it was at Fox or whoever it was at the time,
I was selling you the...
our cost for those videos was $110.
Should have just nicked down to JB Hi-Fi.
They didn't have them then. We had a thing called brashes.
No way.
Whatever.
Does it make you feel old that your kids won't understand that story at all? Video shops, VHS?
No, because I look at the media that they've got and I'm like, it's going to make them feel old when they have to try and tell people that there used to be a thing called TikTok before it got shut down.
There used to be phones before we all got chips in our head.
Righto, let's talk profitable. Do you want to know one of the biggest flops of all time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Jungle Cruise, Turning Red, Mars Needs Moms, and Mulan. What do all of those movies that lost more than $140 million each have in common?
Animated?
Nope.
Shit names.
They are all Disney productions.
No way.
So Disney's had a big issue over the journey, which is why they were so keen to get in bed with Marvel. And this is the argument for that dude, David's hypothesis. The argument is that you can go, who wants to see a movie called Turning Red? What is it? Who wants to see Jungle Cruise? It's based on a ride at Disneyland that worked when it was Pirates of the Caribbean 30 years ago. What's that? Nah, they had to keep trying to restart the machine every time and just keep losing 100 million.
I thought Mulan was successful.
The recent one, 2020.
But let me...
Which is their own remake of themselves.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like there's the argument against that is like, look at what they did with Pixar.
Until recently. So Pixar's fallen off the same cliff.
Yeah.
They're having the same issues with Pixar. So their acquisitions, Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, lights out at the start. There has not been there won't have been a Star Wars movie in cinemas for 7 years by the time the next one comes out, if it comes out.
Yeah.
The wheels have fallen off the Star Wars train in cinematic terms.
Yeah. But
Toy Story universe.
Well, they ruined
Toy Story universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that going.
So, what about this one? How much money did the sequel to 2014's TMNT. TMNT Out of the Shadows 2016.
TMNT, Teenage
Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows 2016. How much money did that lose?
Oh, well, Bryce will say 2 mil.
Yeah,
Of course it will.
I'll
200
say
million.
100 mil.
It lost, have a guess?
It's like
200 million.
It's a cartoon. Like
Yeah.
it can't have that.
How
Can't
much
have
is
cost
going
that much. to
Animated.
make.
So it was people in suits and then animated over the top, right?
Oh, really?
It lost $75 million. And why do I bring it up? Because I was almost in that movie.
No way.
Got down to me and one other guy to play Donatello in those movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And the deal was that they would redo your voice. So you were just a dude in a suit. Like you were the... You know,
Oh, you're like in a morph suit.
yeah,
Yeah,
just like the
around.
West Tigers mascot walking around Leichhardt Oval giving high fives. And they redid everyone's voice. And the deal was disgusting. I earned more from one KFC ad than I would have been in for 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies.
Even though
Would
they
there
lost
be-
75 mil.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up, because them.
Would there have been a share on Rev? No.
Share on piss off is what they
Yeah,
get.
right.
Now, the most expensive...
Sharon lost.
Yeah, Ed's paying it.
I feel. All right, the most expensive special effect ever. Single special effect.
Mad Max or whatever it is.
No, we can do that all day if you want, because
Okay.
he makes real films, Dr. George, where
Okay.
actual things take place in
Special
real time.
effect.
Most expensive. Like one of Disney's.
Yeah.
I was going to say a Star Wars special effect in one of the latest movies.
No, it's it's some of the mapping in Avatar, whatever that means. So some of them the water mapping to get it to the point where it looks like real water, etc., etc. That process, most expensive thing that's ever taken place.
How
Wow.
much?
No one will say.
Oh, okay.
Let's go to most profitable. Budget, $27,000. Year, 1994. My
read about
favorite
this.
movie, Clerks. Shot by Kevin Smith in the place where he worked on a black and white camera for $27,000. Profit to date, only $10 million. However, the reason I bring it up is it was one of the last times, they always say, just go out and shoot something, man. Shoot it yourself and that doesn't work. That
Yeah.
never happens. This is one of the only times it's ever actually taken place. From 27 grand to over $5 million. You guys are into investment. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, great
That's
return.
Great return.
I love when you guys say return. All right. Now, how about a genre starter? Halloween, the original one, 1978. They finally managed to kill him last year, right? They've had about 50 goes. It's one bloke in an overall. Just shoot him in the face. Does anyone have a gun?
Especially in
They're
America.
set in America. Yeah, no one's got a firearm. Go figure.
It's an NRA
I know,
propaganda
and it's in the
tool.
South too. It's in the South. What are we going to do? I've got an idea. I've just been to Walmart. I've got 100 guns. So, righto, budget $325,000 in 1978, the year before Star Wars takes us to the moon. What do you think it made? 1978, $325,000.
Adjusted for inflation.
No, this was in dollars, those dollars.
5 mil.
Yeah, it's not going to be. Yeah, 10 mil.
70 million
Wow.
US dollars.
Whoa.
That's heaps in
That's
the 70s.
And
Great ROI.
thank you so much. And that is when they work out, oh, hang on a sec. This horror thing,
Something
it
here.
might not have to be the second feature on a drive-in.
Yeah.
This could be something that rivals. So genres start getting born. Genres only get born, I read this, I can't remember where, Empire somewhere, where when there's a breakout hit that other people feel they can then copy. So Star Wars starts in 79 with the sci-fi adventure. Oh, hang on, that could be something that we could do forever. Halloween. I know there's been ones before it. I understand that, and Quentin Tarantino is very good at telling us all about them. But, righto, hang on, few people in a cabin, cool soundtrack, and that continues to this day. Our very good friend Lee Winnell and James Wan, who made the Saw film, remember Saw, which was a 2004, which was a student film that they blew up into seven sequels. James is now the executive producer of Fast and the Furious, so he's struggling. And then Lee is now Insidious. He went on to do Insidious, which most recent chapter we just spoke about, just beat Indiana Jones at the box office.
Yeah.
Horror is dollar for dollar, by far your best bet if you want to make money
From
in
a
films.
So if we wanna-
from a profitability point of view.
Exactly
So
right.
long horror.
Long.
It's just investing term.
Oh,
Go long.
Go long, as in back it in for the invest long.
invest long in horror.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Opposite of short.
Short.
Can I take some of these awards? Why do I feel like these are going to be revoked? Let's go Australian. You brought him up. Dr. George Miller, Mad Max, 1979, Australia. Budget, $200,000. Mel Gibson, a hashtag nobody. Just come out of NIDA. American guy, good face. Let's give him a swing. Dr. George putting cameras on cars, driving at full pace, just out in the various highways of Australia. I spoke to one of the cameramen. I was doing a Toyota ad once, and one of the dudes, I just always talk to the crew about what what they've done, especially if they've got grey hair. Always ask grey-haired crew members what they've been up to, especially if they look bored, which means they've been around ages.
Yeah.
And I was like, mate, talk me through it. What was your first job? And he goes, what? I go, what was your first job? He goes, oh, it's fucking Mad Max. I go, what was your job? He goes, Dr. George stuck me to the front of a car with a camera. And I was like, that's your shot. He's like, that's my shot.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
And now, well, no wonder you'd be bored going from that to doing.
How dare you?
Toyota
How
ads.
dare you with me? How dare you?
So I've been out to Silverton where they
Yeah,
filmed
baby.
it. It's pretty epic just seeing all the old school stuff.
Yeah,
there.
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Righto, budget, 1978, $200,000. Profit.
So it went big
100
overseas.
mil,
That's
100
the
mil.
thing.
Cracked
Yeah,
America,
yeah,
called
yeah,
Road
yeah.
Warrior.
Yeah.
Did you say 100?
Yeah.
99,750,000.
Jeez.
Come on. This is 1979.
Couldn't crack the 100 though.
Yeah, shit.
They would have been paid.
Yeah, pointless. And, all right, finally, now we're going to do the top 3 of all time.
Profit.
Yeah, profitability.
Okay.
Profitability. At 3, 1972, Deep Throat. The first adult film
Yes.
and only adult film to make this list.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Budget.
You know it?
Yeah, I do. This is the one that Harriet always makes her joke about, that they studied it in gender studies at uni, and the lecturer said, go home and watch Deep Throat, or, watch this
Keep going.
doco. It's called Deep Throat, and she went home and watched it with Lucy, watched the full porno, and came back and realised they were meant to watch the documentary about the making of Deep Throat.
Excellent. We'll find it, Deep Throat. That's fantastic news.
And they were like, why are we watching this? And that's the story.
Wow. There you go.
So I'm just writing that down as an excuse. It was
For a
a university. Sorry, was it gender studies?
gender studies documentary about the making of.
Right. Okay. So how much money did that make?
25 grand budget.
This is Deep Throat.
Yeah, in 1972 money,
So
made 23 million bucks.
Wow.
Took a punt. What if it was like sex and that, and we put it on at the cinema? Got to remember, at the cinema.
So wait, it wasn't at like its own adult theaters. It was at.
It was at adult theaters.
Yeah.
Sort of, people wouldn't show it. You couldn't show it in the South. They would get annoyed. You couldn't show it here. You couldn't show it there. And they would sort of sneak it in with late night showings and this and that. 72. It's made $23 million in 1972 off 25 grand.
Wow.
So,
25 grand.
yeah, 25 grand. So, Blair Witch Project. Remember this?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's iconic.
Got to remember, this was 1999, where the internet was around, but it wouldn't ruin everything immediately. So people could still think, was it real, was it not? If you don't know what it is, it's a handheld film. It said, the advertising was 5 students go into the bush and they got lost and were never seen again, but we found the footage of them looking for this Blair Witch. And this footage, a found footage movie, is what was on at the cinema. And I was like 17, and I remember thinking, I thought it was real.
Really?
I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy! Because they wouldn't let the actors do interviews. I've heard interviews with the actors saying,
Really?
you people don't exist.
That's
You don't
classic.
do anything. They didn't have a director as such. They just had people who, quote, found the footage and now
Wow.
put it out. It sold at a festival in Cannes, I think. And then they kept the secret for the most part.
I respect the
Wow.
the hustle. Like,
Yeah, it was
I respect
amazing.
the overarching. We're gonna really have a crack at.
Yeah.
It's
This
monthly,
found
yeah.
footage. And now think about all the paranormal activity. There are so many catfish. This is another one that launched
Yeah.
a genre from
Yeah, yeah,
success.
yeah.
And honestly, I remember when it came out thinking, and then I saw it and I was like, this is a movie. But they cracked it. Righto.
What was
much?
the budget?
60 grand budget. And I've read
60
places.
grand.
I've read places where they say that's high. I've read places where that's them going back and pretending they paid the actors, and it was possibly under that.
So
it's
it's
the old
got- it's-
financed on credit card number.
It's got to be over 60 or 70 million to beat the.
Yeah, because it's
the last.
Yeah, exactly.
So probably let's call it 100 flat million.
99.
Yeah.
$250 million
Whoa.
in 1999.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the most profitable film on budget versus return. And yes, if I don't know anything about Bollywood, I'm talking about English language films as we know them. I accept that there could be a Slovenian found footage horror that I don't know anything about. And good luck to them.
The challenge is, though, that the English language market is the biggest spending market. So you
There
probably...
you go. There you go. Okay. Paranormal Activity. A direct child of Blair Witch Project, but this time in 2007. So 8 years later, 9 years later, bought at a festival by Jason Blum, who went on to who's Blumhouse, who's Get Out, and every horror film you've ever seen. You know all the big horror films now? They're all him, Blumhouse. It's all the same guy. This guy called Jason Blum, right? He is a young executive, sees this, goes, this is it. This is my chance to strike out. Buys it, convinces Paramount to get behind it, basically does a little bit of reshooting, but not really, and then away they go, and it's glory everlasting. Budget, 15 grand. This is
What?
literally
Wow.
shot in people's house. Have you seen it? So it's a found footage movie about a child who is possibly possessed and a house that's possibly possessed, and the cameras in this room are better than the cameras they used to make this film.
Wow.
That's
So-
100% the case.
Profitably, like
15 grand, they didn't touch it. They fixed up a little bit of sound.
15
So
grand.
from a percentage point of view, it could earn less than the others.
Yeah, it could. So it could be 50 million, and it's still probably. Oh no, you'd need.
I'm going to say 150 mil.
Have a guess. Mr. Bryce.
151.
I love when people do that. 195.
You
Wow.
got me. You were closer.
and has spawned 5 sequels,
Yeah.
all of them massively profitable. Lee Winnell once told me that on the Saw movies, they wrote and directed the first one. They wrote, I think, the second one. Can't remember if they didn't direct it. We interviewed him once. We were talking in a song. Lovely guy. I go, mate, by the time Saw 7 rocked around, what did you do? He goes, oh, it was great. He goes, mate, I just had obviously we're still getting, a kick of it. He goes, I was just sitting there with my laptop, just looking for retro T-shirts that I wanted to buy online. And they were filming, and every now and again they go, hey, Lee. I go, yep. And they go, would you reckon he'd kill him with like a shovel or an ice pick? And I go, ice pick. And they go, thanks, Lee. I just go back to my T-shirts.
Wow.
No way.
So does the money go to the producer? Is that the first?
If you own the
bucket?
IP,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you own the IP and you're smart early, it's glory everlasting. That's why there's so many things that are tied up in weird rights issues. So sometimes Batman for ages disappeared because it was like, hang on, or if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So you have to make a Spider-Man film, otherwise you lose it.
Well, isn't that
And
the
if-
thing with Spider-Man that like they sold the rights to Sony,
Sony
for some
for
reason?
too long, and then
Yeah.
this guy David was one of the first. For the guy from Marvel was one of the people saying, "Can we play? Hey Sony, you're not going to make a movie, are you? Yeah, we are. Well, can we have it back? Nah." And they finally talked them back into doing a co-pro and then getting it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we want to make a genre-defining movie and we do it, is the best place to get that in the flow to go to Cannes Film Festival?
Well done. Good try. I really appreciate you even bothering to try. Well, Reese, can I throw something in there? Because
Please.
2 Australians have just done it. 2 TikTok stars, the makers of Raka Raka. They were comedy TikTok stars. They made a film with some help called Talk to Me, which is a haunted hand movie. It goes overseas. It gets sold for an enormous amount to A24 at a festival. It's now about to have its worldwide release, and they are now directing the new Street Fighter film, and they're under the mentorship of Jordan Peele, who made Get Out. So it still can
It's
work
possible.
to this day. So it's still a path if you want that to be the case.
Danny and Michael
That's
Filippo.
them. Yeah, they're from Adelaide. And honestly, you watch it. They were 2 years ago. They were doing Ronald McDonald sketches at McDonald's.
Do you have to sell the finished product, or did they sell the concept
No,
at the festival?
this type of thing you need to make.
You
And
need
people
to
need
do
to
it.
see it,
Yeah.
and they go, "This is going to work." The other way
And then do they redo it?
No.
Or it's
This is it.
that's-
The other
yeah.
way you can do it is to package a film. So often you'll see at film festivals, there's the film market, And I've been to one, the American Film Market. I went to it once in LA when a mate of mine had a film there. And you walk past and you see, wow, Nicolas Cage is a dragon hunter. And you go, cool. When's it out? And
Idea.
And he goes, no, shut up. They're looking for people they've got Nick Cage attached.
Oh.
And they're looking for international territories to give them money to see how much the budget will be to see if they can make it. So they'll go over, if I'm Bulgaria and I've got the Bulgarian, I'll go, all right, I'll give you 10 grand for the Bulgarian rights. Great, 10 grand from Bulgaria. What about you? It's like Eurovision. You go around collecting with the hat.
No way.
Yeah, and you make up the money in foreign sales before the movie is made, and that gives you your budget, and that gives you a profit before you shoot a frame.
So
They're called Giza teasers. So right now, if you look on any streaming service, and Bruce Willis isn't very well, but Bruce Willis probably made more films in the past 3 years than he did in the past 40 years.
Because he was just attached to them all.
He would come out and it was $1 million for one day of Bruce Willis.
Wow.
And you had to get all of the shots of Bruce in one day. So if you watch them, and I do,
Not a lot of shots.
he'll sit at a table and he'll nod and they'll shoot it from 100 different angles, and he does it with an earpiece. Well, I know that because he had his health issues, but there are other guys who do it the same way, where you get them for a day, you get as much, and then you can put them on the poster and you can sell it internationally and make a profit.
No way.
And around we go with Dolph Lundgren, Bruce Willis, that era of dude, you can do it with.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, he's more highbrow. He won't do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but like with those movies, surely you need like a Paramount or someone big to at least anchor with the
No.
US. Or you can just get it with like bits and bobs.
So
international
if you
rights.
go to Bruce Willis's IMDb, and we're going to play a game called Seen It or Heard of It.
So you're playing a game with a guy who just doesn't get pop
Sorry,
culture,
actually,
so-
can we swap, please? Bryce, can
Okay.
you go to Bruce
Oh, okay,
Willis's?
yeah.
And Ren and I will take this
Bruce,
game.
Bruce who?
Bruce Willis. It was in Moonlighting. Does that help? So Bruce Willis, IMDb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, we're just getting a bit of internet here.
You're on a bit of internet lag.
Bruce.
I also am now realizing that I've kind of stitched myself up and I'm not going to... Anyway.
Okay,
we'll
so...
Let's read from the top down, from the most recent down, and the year, please.
Okay, I just need to...
Just need to clear my search history.
actor. Okay, previous.
Deep throat.
Oh my goodness. Okay, ready? I'm assuming this... What, you just want me to read
Give me
down?
the top from the most
2023.
Yep.
Assassin.
Anyone?
No.
Detective Knight Independence.
Anyone?
No.
Detective Knight Redemption.
Oh, that sounds good. No.
Paradise City.
No.
No.
Detective Knight Rogue.
How many detective
How many?
night movies
Are we all
there?
in 2023?
We've just hit 2022, but
So
he's got a
those-
shitload in 2022.
How many? So let's keep going in 2022.
So 2022, Detective Rogue. Detective Knight Rogue.
Yep.
Wire Room.
No.
Wrong Place. White Elephant.
No.
Vendetta.
I'm going to stop saying no.
Corrective Measures.
Okay.
Fortress. Sniper's Eye. A Day to Die. Gasoline Alley.
No.
That closes out.
Gasoline
That
Okay.
closes out 2022.
So there you go. So
So
that's
what
all. So
There's
in the
150 more of them.
Last, so in the last 2 years, he's made close to 10 to 12 films, right?
Holy
Yeah.
moly.
And look, we know he's got his health troubles or whatever, but he was still working up to that point where
Yeah.
you would get him for a day. Now that what's a really good trick in there? You notice the Detective Knight, and there were 3 movies.
Yeah.
I bet you any money
All day.
they're going for 3 days.
Yeah.
3 different movies.
No way.
Yep. I bet you any money.
And so when we're saying like he's in them, it's not like he's the main
Yes.
character.
You have no idea how well. It's incredible. It's how much footage, how much they get out of.
You're saying he is the main character in these movies.
A lot of the time, he is the phone calls. He's always on the phone, or he's here, or he's looking at screens, or whatever.
my
It's incredible how much Willis.
He's
footage,
the lead character, Detective
Yeah.
James Knight.
but they'll
Oh,
put
he-
him at the top
oh.
anyway,
Yeah.
no matter what. They'll put him
Yeah,
at the
because that's
top.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
you
they'll put him
were
at the top
saying.
anyway.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, okay.
That is an incredible genre and a way to make money.
Just a lot of shooting shots, I imagine.
No, because that would make then someone else has got to die. You're much better off having him on the phone, giving
Yeah.
you directions,
Hacking
I have
things.
seen
Oh,
too
yeah.
many of these. So that's a way to make money.
So what's all this? The movie business is so hard. What you're telling me is they can bang a movie out in a day.
Well,
We should do this.
Well-
we should go to one of these markets with an idea.
Oh, well, I was actually
my
thinking.
God.
Oh, hold on, I've got.
why are
an
you
idea.
ruining the end of my podcast?
Spoiler alert! Let me suggest this one. Maybe we pitch a remake of Deep Throat and attach Bryce to it.
Bryce and Bruce Willis. Bruce, this is slightly different to what you normally do. But
I only need you for a day still.
need you for 3 minutes. So, gentlemen, all right, there we go. So that is called the Giza teaser. Here's a question for you. As we rapidly approach towards the end, other ways to make money on movies. What do these three films have in common? Kiki, Love to Love from 2016, Le Fantasme from 2021, and The Little Death from 2015 Australia. What do those three movies all have in common?
Exactly the same movie translated to different markets.
Close. Australian film, The Little Death, made by my homeboy Josh Lawson, and Kiki, Love to Love, and Les Fantasmes are foreign language remakes. Another way to make money is have a great idea for a film that you can then sell the concept for around the world. That is, and one of these, I think Kiki, Love to Love, was like the highest grossing comedy, the Spanish comedy of the year. And so many films are adaptations, like True Lies, the classic, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis movie. That was an adaptation of a French one. The Departed, the Matt Damon. That was Infernal Affairs. Have you ever seen Infernal Affairs?
Never.
It's a Korean movie, and you watch it and you're like, far out. This is shot for shot.
Oh, really?
It's not shot, but you know what I mean,
But
though. But a lot more movies than you think are remakes of foreign films that we just didn't know about, or were so small that people didn't know. So that is another way that we could think to make an original idea and then resell the idea. That's a way to make an original movie. If the idea is strong enough that other people will want to do it. So, but I know it's hard to have an original idea. Who can be bothered? All right. Now, merch. Let's just quickly do merch. Deep Throat merch, still available. What? Still available. No, it's still available on eBay, but you may want to wash it. So, according to Wikipedia, which franchise has the highest merchandising ever? So, sales.
Star Wars.
Thank you so much. $42 billion of merch and counting.
What?
Ticket sales are a quarter of what the money Star Wars has made at a paltry $10 billion.
Wow.
And of course, because George Lucas's father owned a toy shop, George Lucas knew back in the day, don't pay me to direct. What about if I kept the rights for the toys? Yeah, okay. Hear about this fucking idiot? Wants the rights for the toys. What toys? Yep.
$42 billion
Boom.
worth.
Wow.
Way he goes.
Wow.
That's epic.
Way he goes into the sunset. All right. Netflix. Let's talk about Netflix movies. Because Netflix went through a stage of paying enormous overall deals to filmmakers to see what they could get out of them. And have you guys got any intel on Netflix? Is it going to
what do
go
you
broke
want?
tomorrow?
No, it's cash flow
flipped it.
positive.
It's flipped
It's actually made it work,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Yeah.
What?
It's
Because it
back.
was packing on so much debt.
It's
but-
cash
As a
flow
business,
positive.
it's stunning. Yeah. But I hate it at the moment.
Now,
Yeah.
Why?
now you're being interesting.
I just think
Got enough
there's
Deep Throat
there's-
docos?
There's too much crap on there now.
Yeah, but that's crap.
That's the
But that's what
business
yes.
model. Yeah.
I know.
You've
It's
just
fine.
worked.
Velocity,
You've worked
yeah.
out what they've realised. That crap is the business model.
Yeah, but
A torrent,
It's
a
losing
constant
me.
torrent of crap. I also think they are now waiting to see what other places do and then quickly copying it. So
I think it's also just like let's not die. Some of our competitors are going to die, and let's not be one of them.
it's attrition at the moment.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
I love Paramount Plus the best. So they made.
I love whoever options is their money in as a TV show. My love is for sale.
We all know that BrickBox has made an offer. So Netflix made one of the biggest movie deals with Adam Sandler.
Oh, this was ridiculous.
$250 million for guess how many movies?
It was like 7 or something, wasn't
You
it?
wish.
Oh.
4.
Oh,
4.
right.
Let's play a game of have you heard of the movies that they made? Okay. Now, Murder Mystery was a huge
With,
Netflix hit with Jennifer
Jennifer
Aniston,
Aniston,
Yeah.
right? And they made a sequel of that. It was you'll love this. It was the most popular movie in 2019, their figures, and the single most watched piece of content on the Netflix service in the US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Singapore, and the UAE. That to me feels worth it.
Have either of you watched it?
I've seen it.
I haven't. So.
It's good. In terms, she is amazing, great comic actress, and Adam Sandler's Adam Sandler. It's good fun.
Yeah.
It is. It feels like he tried. It feels like he went, you know what?
You'd hope so.
And put a pin in that
You'd hope
because
so.
that's going to become a relevant comment with some of these other ones.
Thank you so much. Stop me when you've heard of any of the other movies that Netflix paid Adam Sandler for $250 million for. The Ridiculous Six. Nope. A Magnificent Seven remake.
Yeah.
The Do-Over.
No.
I don't even know what that was. Sandy Wexler.
No.
Terrible movie where he was playing an agent. Terrible film. The Week Of.
No.
And then The Murder Mystery. And here's the kicker. A stand-up special called 100% Fresh.
No way.
One of the things he hasn't done for 20 years. That went massive for them. That was a
Really?
huge driver. They would have got their value just from Murder Mystery. From their perspective, I reckon they would have thought, yep, we got money. We got our money from Murder Mystery and 100% Fresh, and the other things were a bonus.
Can we just defend, give Adam Sandler his dues?
I'm a Sandler guy.
Uncut Gems, epic movie.
Well, he didn't make that. He was just in it.
Oh, still epic movie.
Yeah, good movie.
And what was the one where he was the basketball agent recently?
That is called The Hustle or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Also epic movie.
Yeah, but you're doing his two dramas.
Oh, well, sorry. I just, I was just trying to both sides.
Made by other people. Come on. Yeah, so, all right. That's it. So, what do we do? Before we say what we do, is there any money in movies? Where do you sit now?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, I stay the same.
But I don't think my question at the start has been answered, which is like your stock standard $10 million.
I just spent an
budget.
hour trying to tell you that there was no such thing as that.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
That's gone.
Yeah, okay.
As a idea, that is gone.
Well, let me
You either go massive and
yeah.
sequelized, horror, idea that can travel, or suck Netflix in to making a load of shit.
So what about will an Australian movie ever be in cinemas again then, based on that? Like,
It's funny you bring that up.
They do all those boutique tours, don't they?
Aha. So they do a boutique tour, but look, I'm open. Look, Australian film, I want it to go really well, but for the most part, not the most part, a lot of it is for a niche audience of award enjoying Fairfax readers. Yeah? That have no relation to the retail media. This is why I'm excited about this Talk to Me, this Australian horror/comedy movie, because I'm like, this feels like a movie where they're aimed at audiences. But let's not forget, Mad Max is coming out next year. That's an Australian film. Hopefully is a global mega hit. So would you say you are bullish or bearish on film in general?
Bullish.
So am I.
Yeah.
I'm really bullish on film.
really?
Yeah, really
but
bullish.
but cinemas as well.
I didn't say that.
Oh, that I was just clarifying.
No, I'm really bullish on movies. Cinemas, I think, will just adjust their business model.
Yeah.
Varied ticket pricing, different promotions, more experiential, more of a
Yeah,
night out.
I think imagine what's going to come when we really start getting this Apple Vision Pro stuff going. Like, it's going to be a whole new world.
Well, that is the other.
It's a whole
point.
whole new world.
Imagine
Like,
how much James Cameron.
exactly. Cameron will be pumped for this.
Like, when he comes
He's-
to Titanic with me. I'm like,
There's going to be
no.
movies that
Yes.
that create incredible experiences.
You are now in the
And-
car with Vin Diesel for Fast and Furious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Choose your character.
That's right. And imagine Deep Throat's going to be great. All right, class.
That's where we'll
Welcome
leave
to
it.
Gender Studies. Please put on your virtual headset.
So like,
what do we
fuck,
do?
I forgot what I was going to say.
All right. So
Cut
what?
that.
So what do we do? All right. So what do we do? All right. That's it. Bad luck, you two. You're now movie producers. And from what I've said to you there, just from money, you have to come up with something, a film
Yeah.
or a type of film that you would say, okay, we're going to try and make that to try and make money. Bryce, what are you doing?
We go to this market with a horror attached to Bruce Willis.
But he's not working, so someone in that world.
Yeah.
So Nick Cage, Bruce Willis, someone like that.
Yeah.
So we've got a low budget horror.
Yeah.
We've got this person here.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
You know what? That is intensely viable. All right, Ren.
A shot-for-shot remake of Kenny with Virat Kohli attached as the leading man.
Look. That also.
A Bollywood shot.
yeah.
Yeah. That would sell.
It's not bad because the first half of Slumdog Millionaire is sort of that. So that is because he cleans he's in the toilet.
Yeah.
All right, that's harder to sell, but I think it would work. And I'm sure Mr. Jacobson would like the cash.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing the exact opposite.
Okay.
So I can't help it. I like comedy. I've done it years ago. We self-funded a comedy. We sold it to Channel 10, which was great. but
Give it a plug.
it's called Scumbus. You can't find it anymore because some of the jokes haven't aged well. It was gender studies. They wouldn't get through the first 2 minutes. It would be a riot.
Fair call.
So, but I can't help it. I like really low budget ensemble comedy that I think has audience, but with a different release model to the one that we have outlined. I think let's leave that there. But
Nice.
I can't help myself. That's what I'm doing.
Love
Right.
it.
And when you say you are doing it,
I've done it. I've done the script live in front of
Cliffhanger.
audiences a couple of times in order to work it up. But the Marx Brothers used to tour their comedy scripts in order to get them tight so they knew what was funny and what wasn't. So I've done this script 3 times, so I know what works and what doesn't. And now we're into the next bit.
there you go.
Nice.
We'll leave
Well,
that
let's
cliffhanger.
leave
It's
it
called
there.
Deep
Let's leave
Throat, and the crowd loves it.
All right. Well,
See you next time.